here in London.
Ding dong.
I was thinking about this last night in bed.
Smashed it. Brew for success.
As a soon-to-be fur daddy. Another one in the bag.
I'm vetoing that. This week we're heading back to Thailand, to Bangkok, to try Singha beer. But first, the hop topic.
So how many calories do you think you're going to drink per beer?
150.
150 calories is a beer.
Yeah.
As in an average. So like normally.
I'd say it's more. I think it's quite calorific beer. 200?
So it's 209. So fantastic Joe Dinger winner right there. So Joe gets points. Well done. But I'm now looking at what is the healthiest beer to drink. So the healthiest one. Now I'm talking about they have to be alcoholic, so you can't have non-alcoholic beer. Mm. So what do you think? Which kind of company do you think does the healthiest?
Isn't that a beer called Skinny?
There is the Skinny beer, but actually it's not on there.
Okay.
Interestingly.
This is exclusively beer companies.
Yeah. So they're alcoholic. It's not 0.0.
And it's a beer.
Yeah. Is it Michelob?
Michelob.
Sorry. Michelob Ultra is only 95 calories, and that's third place.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't think of that.
And that's 4.2%, so it's still quite alcoholic, relatively speaking. Then you've got Corona Premier, which is 4% and only 90 calories.
Okay.
So then you have the Beck's Premier Light, which is only 64 calories. Now, it's only 2.3%.
It's a very low alcoholic
content. Very low alcohol. But they say they're just 64 calories per ounce of bottle. So I think it's quite interesting now that I think this is a trend that we're going to start seeing a lot more of. As you said, there's the Skinny company who like advertise themselves as like kind of the low calorie drink. And I think it is getting more and more prevalent that you're going to see more of these companies come through, because 209 calories is actually a lot, isn't it? That you're drinking.
So the average daily intake for a male is 2,500.
Yeah.
And a female's 2,000 calories, I think that is.
That's, if you think about the amount of calories that a pint has, if you have a normal pint, you're looking at 200. If you have 5 pints, you're looking at 1,000.
Almost half your daily intake of calories.
That's
just
crazy.
There and then.
That's crazy. So you can understand why these companies are going, do you know what? Let's make something that...
Well, there's a real consumer need for it. People want to be able to enjoy the liquid without that guilt of, now I'm going to go run a marathon just to run this off. Like, people want to be able to enjoy that occasion where they're out with friends, the social side of things, but without that guilt, the guilty pleasure, as it were. Let's get rid of that guilty pleasure and just have it all about pleasure. You're just out there enjoying it. You don't have to worry too much about the calories because it's like 64 calories.
Yeah.
And yes, that's not to try and encourage more volume. Yeah. Not trying to drink more. You're just trying to say the amount that you were going to drink just cost you less.
Yeah, as in cost you physically. And I think a lot more people now are quite worried about like the physical presence of what beer can do to you, because obviously you can have the idea of having a beer belly is kind of quite prevalent, isn't it? So I think the idea of maybe minimizing that risk is always going to appeal to people. Also, the fact that I think a lot, not just women, but women and men are very worried about their weight. I think
everyone's worried about their weight.
So if everyone's worried about your weight and every single time you drink a beer, you're like, well, that's a lot. Like that's 200 calories.
Well, I think that's what I like. What I like so much about Michelob Ultra and their positioning is that it's all about, you come out of the gym and have a beer and not just undo all the work you've just done.
Yeah.
It's actually a pretty good beer, Michelob Ultra. We'll have it someday, but it's nice. It's very sports athletic positioning.
Yeah.
Which is an amazing thing for a beer to be in.
Well, it doesn't usually happen that way. Usually, more like the John Smith style of kicking the football over the fence.
Yeah.
If you guys don't mind, pursuit of hoppy this time.
So in this week's episode, we are traveling to Thailand, or Bangkok in Thailand, to talk about Singha. Now, Singha is owned by Boon Brewery Co.
I think we should apologise if we misspeak any of these names or words now.
Boon Raud, right?
Yeah.
Boon Raud.
Let's go with that.
Yeah.
I will refer to them as the Brewery, henceforth. So the Brewery is, they have multiple beers as well. Like Leo and U beer, My beer, Snowy, Kopek beer. Interesting. But Singha is, of course, their staple. Now, Singha itself is brewed with 3 different types of hops: Sars, Pearl, and Hallertau.
Okay, is there any elaboration on those 3, or?
They're 3 types of hops. And those are their names.
Those are hops, Simo.
They are hops. Fantastic.
So Singha is referred to as the original Thai beer. It's distinctive, full-bodied, 100% malted barley beer with no rice or adjuncts. I think additives, basically added bits.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it's been the winner of 7 gold medals.
Okay.
Really good at the Olympics.
100 metres sprinting. Yeah. Javelin.
So the brewery was Thailand's very first brewery, and that was set up in 1931. But the gentleman who, I'm going to butcher this name right now, Prior Birumbakidi.
I'll go with it. Say it with less question mark at the end.
Yeah. Come on,
say it with a bit more
confidence.
Prior Birumbakidi.
Yes. Yeah, well done.
There we go.
Yeah.
But we'll just know him as P.
Mr. P.
Mr. P. So, Mr. P... I can't call him Mr. P.
You can call him Mr. P. That's fine. That's not disrespectful. That's
okay.
Fine.
So, Mr. P, he was a ferryman to start with. And so he was transporting people across the river, the Cho Prai River. But as always, industry comes and more bridges were built. Or it says he foresaw more bridges being built. So I'm assuming he saw bridges being built. And then decided he was going to try something new, something different, and he settled on beer.
I like the fact that he's gone from having a ferry and gone, gosh dang it, those bridges, and then just, why not alcohol? I love it.
Well, I think it's that business acumen, isn't it? It's seeing the writing on the wall that what you have put your money into and your livelihood into is potentially going to be obsolete.
Yeah. Also, he used a very English phrase, apparently, Simo. Gosh darn it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Very common in Bangkok.
So so he started up this brewery, the brewery as we're calling it.
Yeah.
In what year was that? 1931. You said.
1930. Yeah. So he decided in 1931, Thailand's very first brewery, and then in 1933 he received his brewing license from the Thai government.
Now I love this because on the label you can see it says by royal permission.
Now, interestingly. So talking about the bottle, there is a specific logo, and there's 2 different ones. One on the neck, and the very famous golden lion.
So if I can describe the one on the neck for the listeners,
yeah.
So the one on the neck, it looks like it's like a bird of some sort, but almost like a person bird.
Yeah. Now it's called the Garuda symbol. Now this symbol,
a person bird.
A bird person, Joe.
A person. Isn't there actually?
Yeah, it's on Rick and Morty.
Yeah,
bird person.
Bird person. Oh, it's Birdman, isn't it?
No, he's called bird person.
I mean, Birdman would have probably been better than bird person. I think we should go with bird.
But it's a person bird.
No, I like person bird. There's no copyright with that.
Yeah, it's a person bird. Okay, fantastic. So the person bird is actually given. Where's the person bit in the bird?
Look, it's got a face.
So is it just the face that's birdie, or is the
no? He's
birdie?
got arms and everything.
But isn't that the wings, Joe?
Yeah, look at it. He's almost like a griffin, like a style of a griffin.
But a griffin isn't got any human.
No, I know, but it's mythology. It's mythical. That's not a real depiction of like a bird.
Is this a god that we're disrespecting?
It could be.
It could be.
It could be like the royal crest of Thailand, and we're just completely shocked.
Well, actually, saying that very interestingly,
it is.
It is. So just to let you know, Joe, it is the Garuda symbol, and basically this is given to companies in Thailand that are trusted, like banks and other local companies. It can trace itself back to 1939 when King Rama VIII gave the Boon Brewery the permission to use the symbol. At that time, this represented the highest honour in the country for companies. So it was such a big deal. And the fact that they've still got it because it basically says they're financially stable and they're a top quality product.
So these guys are the only beer in Thailand that are allowed to display it as well?
That's amazing.
That's good.
So they were the original brewery in Thailand, you were saying, though.
Well, they were the first brewery in
First
Thailand.
brewery. Okay.
Yeah.
So that kind of makes sense. You're
Yeah.
the first of something.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know we here in the UK, we have by royal decree, you have like companies that have been emblazoned with royal and been like backed up by it, like porcelain,
Is
for
it
example.
marmalade? Is there a marmalade?
There will be. I'm sure
Yeah.
like one of every thing. But like Royal Worcester porcelain, for example, where we're our hometown, that's by royal decree.
Is that still a thing?
I think no. There's still a museum there, and you can go and experience it, but they don't make the porcelain, unfortunately.
Usually this symbol is used for like mainly banks and other kind of companies like that. So the fact that they have it is amazing. The logo that people will probably recognize more is the massive golden lion, right? Which is very Asian styled, as in the way it looks now, and it looks like that because it's not just a random logo. It was inspired by one of the 4 great lions in Thai literature. And basically, folk believe it is from the king of Himapan Forest.
Why did you get louder?
Okay,
Why did you get louder and quicker?
So
That was so good. That was. Oh, I could see that was just painful for you.
yeah, I was like, so basically, 4 great lions, which folk believes to be the king of Himapan Forest. I think I've got it normally now. Right. And this is kind of their take on those lions. And so it has a lot of like historical culture to it. And I think it's amazing that they are linking back to their literature and their history and the culture of their country, because obviously it does come across very Asian, as in the style of the like. Because I think you nearly called it like a dragon-esque. When
I mean, when I first initially like scanned my eyes through it, I thought, oh, a big golden thing. Usually it's from Southeast Asia, thinking, oh, that's probably going to be a dragon of some sort. But of course, that's China, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas this is very clearly, this is Thailand. It's a lion.
Yeah.
And I get that. Like the royalness oozes from this design. You've got that royal decree at the top, by royal permission with the royal logo on top. You've got gold emblazoned throughout the whole of this. Like the golden line is so distinctive. They've got kind of a gold foil at the bottom here of the logo and the top band.
It's almost trying to be as elite as possible.
That's it.
So you say the words elite and stuff like that. So when reading up about the beer, this beer isn't chosen that much by some of the locals in the area because it's considered the more expensive beer in Thailand. So the beers such as Chang, which we've already tried, and Leo and stuff are much more popular.
So this is kind of like, this is a fancier drink.
Yeah. This is a fancier drink because it's a little bit more expensive than Chang and Leo, and that's what that's what a lot of the locals drink. Like when I was in Thailand, I never actually drank Singha when I was there.
Was it available? Was it kind of as available though?
Or it was as available. It was in all bars and everything like that. But it's just not the beer that's chosen out there really.
Chang is the number one beer.
So that's really interesting though, that something that is more premium is less, like, as in you would think that people would want to drink it a lot more because it's seen as that premium kind of style. But I guess it's
a price thing as well, isn't it?
Course, yeah.
And it's what people are used to drinking. I mean, I think this exports really well for that in that premium lager. If you want something that's, but let's judge it against that then. Taste palette wise and what we're tasting, this is a premium lager.
So if I was to compare it to the other Thai beer that we've all tried, which was Chang, I much prefer the flavour of this beer. I think it's got a little bit more going on with it, palate-wise and stuff like that, compared to the Chang, which is quite, not so much bland, but very much more of a generic flavour, I would say. This has something a little bit more about it. There's something a little bit more fruity.
I think, it's got it's got like a zing to it. Like I feel like there is a zing to it when you drink it. It's not. I think we've said that. I think we prefer Asian lagers compared to what we've had in the past
to Western lagers.
Yeah, but then for instance, I can tell this is very different to something like Tiger. It is very different.
I'd say that this is. I haven't tried anything like this before. As a lager goes, it's very smooth. Isn't the right word. Crisp isn't the right word. But flavorful. It's got a lot of flavor to it.
Feels refreshing, actually.
It's got a really nice aftertaste as well. So it doesn't. With some lagers and stuff like that, they sit on the mouth a little bit, and it's not the best taste afterwards. But with this one, I take it and I quite like the hit you get after the initial gulp.
I feel like this is quite. I know it is supposed to be. It's carbonated, but doesn't it feels fizzy? Like it sounds like it does feel fizzy and refreshing when you drink it. And I think it's got
feel the bubbles.
I've actually
look at that.
feel the bubbles.
Feel the bubbles.
I actually just like washed it around my mouth. It's like you know how you would do like a wine or a whiskey almost. It's like kind of
Mouthwash.
yeah, like it's a bit it's strange how that's.
Yeah.
I want to do that with this beer.
Yeah.
Whereas most beers, it's like right, put it in your mouth. It's taste. Oh, you get a bit of a taste of it and it goes down. Whereas this, I actually want it in my mouth longer.
Yeah, I can taste it. This is going to sound really odd, but I can taste it on the roof, the back of my mouth on the roof. It's still there now, and it's not bad. I'm enjoying it.
One thing that I do find quite interesting is I'm kind of going off piece a little bit, but the fact that the lid of the bottle is actually red.
Okay.
And it's the symbol of, and it says Boon Brewery on it. So the brewery itself sees itself as red, yet the entire design of that bottle is white and gold. So if I,
Yeah.
So as in, I'm literally showing it.
So
I'm showing them now. It's the red version. So it's still got the head. It's got the head of the lion on it, but it's red and white. Now
here's the cap of the bottle.
The cap, yeah. So the cap of the bottle has red and white. It's still the same lion head, and it's still the same kind of like font in a circle saying Boon Brewery .co.limited, but it's very different colours to what the rest of the bottle is.
Well, it goes back to red being a lucky colour in Asia. They're still they want to still see it as a good luck thing, so that's why they've donned it. They still have that little bit of red, and the contrast to the bottle is very different. But I think it works.
But it also makes sense that the brewery isn't gold. Because that's not what's been sanctioned by... Is it the brewery or is it the beer that's been sanctioned by the...
beer that's been sanctioned.
That's it. So this makes total sense. This is their royal sanctioned beer. So it's all gold, it's emblazoned. That's their owning point because no other breweries, you were saying, or beer has this symbol that they're allowed to show.
Somebody said about their other beers.
Yeah, they've got like Leo... This is the Boon Brewery. Sorry, Boon Brewery have... Leo, U Beer, My Beer, Snowy, Kopek Beer.
Have you ever had any of these beers?
Never.
I've had all of those beers.
Oh, okay, so is there can you remember the taste like you do with Singha?
No, not as much. Like the only one I do really remember is Chang, but that's because I drank a hell of a lot of it.
But that's not Boon Round.
No, yeah.
So that's just quite interesting how. I've not heard of any of their other beers. Whilst this one has obviously sold internationally.
Well, I'm sure this is the international beer.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, this is their premium point. You want a beer that's exported. You can sell it for more money.
Yeah.
So it makes, and you want something that might be appealing and different.
Yeah,
to audiences. So a more refined beer like this, one that has this distinctive flavor, a higher price point. That's a recipe for an export beer.
I also think that the regalness of the bottle does help it sell, especially in the the fact that it's regal looking, but it's also very simple. I don't think they're trying to go too complicated with the design, and I think that's really nice. Like the simple band of gold on the bottom.
So no, I was just having a peruse on the website to look what other beers that they brew over there. So they actually do Asahi, Carlsberg, and Corona. Boon Rar.
Well, as in they
they don't make it.
No,
they don't make it.
They distribute it. So they won't make it.
So they distribute other people's...
So distribution is an interesting thing. So in all these breweries will have infrastructure in their core countries. But so that means that even if they don't, they'll have distribution agreements with other brewers who want to come into this market. So a great example of this happening in the UK is this beer, Singha, is distributed since 2019 by Shepherd's Neame here in the UK, which is a big brewery who make their own set of beers, but they obviously have the infrastructure that they can get the products where they need to go. Now, it was Molson Coors for 10 years, and there's nothing, it's quite, the kind of the statement from the Molson Coors team, that's a long time, they just basically decided not to renew their licensing or their distribution agreement with...
It's like a big bond
Singha.
you've made for 10 years, isn't it?
That's it, and they just said it comes to a natural end. Sounds very ominous. Like was there stuff going on there, or they just decided this wasn't worth their time
Comes to
anymore?
a natural end. That's a bad relationship.
Unless they got offered a better deal.
Yeah, they missed more money or offered a bigger spread, or
So of course, obviously that's the distribution into like pubs and bars and restaurants and things. You can buy this online. In the UK through, I think you said before, like Amazon, Tesco, Asda, Sainsbury's, Morrison's, and Ocado. So they're everywhere.
Well, I got this in Sainsbury's off the shelf. This one,
yeah. I mean, it's I'm guessing this was a lot easier than your other escapades into buying Asian
Yeah,
lager.
this one I managed to get right away, which was easy.
It's almost upsetting, really, isn't it?
On a weird beer adventure.
Yeah.
So I found it something quite interesting. Obviously, we know of Thai businesses and business groups investing into the UK economy. You know, we said that about Chang. You know, they're sponsoring 2 Premier League football teams, and that's not just to get help them sell more beer. I'm sure it is, but they're also investing in all this other stuff.
Yeah.
So in 2015, a Thai joint venture featuring Boon Brewery bought a portfolio of 32 hotels in the UK.
Awesome.
Okay.
So I think we're seeing again there's been a big investment from groups from Thailand.
So the Brewery company has actually bought how many hotels? Sorry,
32, or been part of a group
so
that
investing.
buys 30.
Yeah.
They're investing in the UK.
And basically that means that those 32 obviously are going to have Singha beer.
Oh, maybe that'd be part of the agreement for it.
Because I'm guessing, like for me, it sounds in my head when I see that bottle and I see the history behind all the logo, I'm thinking classy hotels. Like these aren't going to be hostels; these are going to be some proper nice hotels.
Well, also looking, they've diversified into they've got a fairly big food portfolio as well.
Okay.
No brands that we have here in the UK, but in Thailand and stuff. Even though I do want to try crispy coconut rolls.
That sounds delightful.
Yeah, it does
I'd
sound
like to try
pretty
that
good.
as well.
Only if you like coconut, obviously.
So I think looking at their Instagram, they've got 11,000 people, and on Twitter they're 8,000. And I like how Singha have done it. They haven't specified, oh, here's a UK version of blah, blah. It's like just give us what
Be Singha. Yeah.
And yeah, I think overall with Singha, it looks regal. It does look regal. That's the whole point of it. That's their point of differentiation, and they want to sell it from the world in the beer market. It's a very nice, flavorful beer.
I would definitely drink this again, and I could definitely see me actively going and buying it because it's the first time I've brought it in the UK and gone, yep, I'm going to go and purchase this, whether it's for the means of the podcast, but it's definitely something I would pick to drink again.
Anyone spotted any advertising, anything above the line or even below the line that you might have seen?
I mean, the only advertising I've seen really is the fact that they've talked about how they're really good with food, and I think that's something that we've talked about before, how they do push, and I'm sure it's for the Western market, but they do talk about how, guess what, it's good with Thai food, and it is. And for instance, on their website, they do this huge talking about the fact it's like they get a fantastic chef from Thailand. And he talks about how the fact that it can go with seafood, it can go with all these amazing Thai infused like ideas, and the fact that the flavor is so light and is it palatable? I'm not sure if that's the right
Palatable.
word. Yeah, that it can work with most foods. And so it doesn't just have to be Thai food. It can be anything. And they want you to kind of, it's almost that they're pushing you to be with food, and the fact is like, you can drink it all the time, basically.
I think this Singha beer, I will have it as a standalone drink. It's very nice.
Yeah.
Like, it's really flavorful. It's blown me away a little bit. I will say that. And this is the one I've had it before, but having sat down in this environment and we're talking about it, it surprised me, this beer.
Well, it's the first time I've tried it, and I honestly was expecting bog standard lager. I wasn't expecting anything exciting about it because I've never heard anyone rave about it. I've never heard anyone go, do you know what, you need to try this. And I think people have been missing a trick, because I think it is it's actually quite easy. It doesn't feel like, oh God, it's really gassy. Oh God, like let's try and get through it. I do feel like I've just whisked through it and it's really nice.
Well, that is what we're here to do, educate people.
So go try that. I was trying something. It's not going to work. Let's not do that again. Go try.
That's Drabwell's thing.
I'm trying to get a catchphrase.
No, hang on. That's Drabwell's thing. He's the guy who does the funny, stupid lines. The amount of times he's gone, just do it. Or like,
get on it. Get on it.
Get on it, Jeff Bezos.
Tiger, get on it. Like you said it a lot.
He says it all the time. It's brilliant.
And that's all we have time for this week's episode of the I'll Try That podcast. And so from me, Joe,
Rich,
and Simo,
goodbye. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram,
Twitter,
and watch us on YouTube.
Goodbye now. Always drink responsibly, and if you or anyone else needs some help, go to drinkaware.co.uk for more information.